Okay, so in yesterday's class, what we have done, we have just discussed few things about the testing, why it is necessary, what are the parameters we need to do consider while performing the testing, how to find the quality of the software. These are the things we have discussed. Okay, so in today's sessions, let's move on with this agenda. So what is the basic terminology of the testing? Okay, so and what is the system architecture we are having, and how exactly a software will be developed in a organization, and what is the SDLC model, what is the terminology in SDLC to develop an application. Okay, what are the different models we are having, the types of the SDLC. Let's move on with one by one. Okay, so this terminology you have to know what is project and what is product. Okay, and I think you might have some knowledge on some companies are project based and some companies are product based, service based, product based, like this will be done. So what is a project and what is a product actually? What is the difference between these two? Okay, so what do you have a knowledge about the project and product? May I know from you first? Akram, Josna, Shastash and Shiva. What is
What I
project?
mean is like project is nothing but a for example, what I can say, if there is a Oracle database and database is like it's a product, and the people who support the project are from multiple companies, so that is called a project, which we develop or enhance or we do daily upgrades or anything. It comes into like a project. Whereas a product or product-based company, it comes to the base product, DB Oracle database. It's a product. So this is what I understand from it.
So simply, so project is nothing but if you do develop a software for specific client or specific customer. Okay, so that we can do call it's like a simple project. Okay, so means specific customer. What we have to do consider here, we have to take the requirements of a specific client or the customer, and we have to develop the software for that specific client only. Okay, so that is a project. Okay, specific customer requirements we have to do take. Okay, so and we have to develop the software for that. On the basis of third requirements, we have to develop the software. So that is a project. Okay, so develop the software for this requirements only. For this customer requirements. Okay, so coming to product. What is product again? What is product? Product means whatever we have done here in the project, specific customer requirements we have taken and we have developed the software for those requirements only. But here what we have to do take here is what we have to do consider on the basis of the current market. So how the on the basis of current market, how the people are requiring the features, which features they are showing the interest. Okay, on the basis of the current market, we have to develop the features and we have to develop an application, and that will be utilized by many people. Okay, so we have to do consider current market. Okay, so on the basis of current market, we have to develop software. Okay, develop this software. So for example, so MS Microsoft Office is there, so like PPT, so Excel sheet, these will be to update now. So on the basis of the current version, so according to our PC configuration and all, we can do update our application. So that is again depends on the current market only. So that will be utilized by the people who are interested to use that update application, they can able to use. Okay, so this is a simple thing about the project and the product. Okay, so coming to next thing, Yeah, so we have already discussed about the verification and validation in previous session. Let's discuss once again what is a verification process and what is a validation process. Okay, so verification is done by the developers. It is a process to verify the developers are develop the features according to the requirements or not. Okay, are they developed with respect to the requirements or out of the track they have developed? So they have to do that process, and that process of verification we do call some verification, and the developers will only do positive way of the testing in the verification process. Okay, so the developers will do only positive testing in the verification process. So coming to validation, so it is a, of course, it is also a testing, but in this process, what we have to do, so this is done by the validation will be done by the testers. What the testers will do here, what the testers will do here is whatever the build developed by the developers, okay, is that working with respect to the requirements or not? Okay, so with respect to the requirements or not. So in this validation process, we have to do perform positive way of the testing and negative way of the testing also to provide the security for the software. Okay, to provide the security, we have to perform positively test and negatively test also we have to perform. But coming to verification, they will just verify with respect to the requirements. Okay, are we developed the correct build or not with respect to the requirements only what we have developed that is working or not, they will do perform in the verification process. So here in the validation, whatever it was sent to the testers, is that working with respect to the requirements? And also here what we have to do consider, so positively we have to do test, and also negatively we have to do test to verify with respect to the requirements it is working or not, and also to provide the security to the software. It should work according to the requirements only. Out of the requirements, some other different perceptions which are not covered by the developers, that is also we have to do cover in the validation process. Okay, and the validation will be performed after the verification only. Okay, after the verification done by the developers, then only we will move on to validation process. Validation depends on the verification, but verification is independent on the validation process. Okay, testers need to test the build which is already verified by the developers. Okay, so this verification, in this verification, the developers will perform some white box testing. Okay, so I will tell you what is white box and all. After that only we will move on to this validation process. Okay, yes. So coming to what is testing? Testing is combination of this verification and validation process. Okay, this is a combination of verification and validation process. Complete software testing means the combination of verification and the validation be together called software testing. So simply testing means, so it is a process. Okay, testing is a process to find the functionality or the module or the software. Okay, so testing is a process to find or analyze the software is working according to the requirements or not. So it should be work according to the requirements only it should work. So this we have to do validate. Okay, so in the testing what we have to do, the software is working according to the requirements or not. Okay, how we can do validate? Validation means by considering and by analyzing some expected result, and by validating with the actual result, we have to do validate. We have to do validate. So testing is a find process to find the software is working according to the requirements by considering the expected results and the actual results. Okay, so I'll provide you the notes. Okay, so but first understand the things well. Okay, so what is build or AUT? Okay, so build or AUT means application under test. Application under test. So build is nothing but it's a software, but it is not completely tested software. The software is still in under testing. So software means which is integrated with some features, but those features may work according to the requirements, may not work according to the requirements, but still we consider it's a software. So no, so we have to do test this. Okay, so which is under test, we call that's a build. Okay, so after the testing, we can call it this software as an application, but still it is under test means we have to do call it a build. Okay, so what is test case? Okay, so in previous session I told you what is manual and automation means. So executing the test cases manually without any automation testing tool, that is manual testing. I told you what is test case. Okay, so I will show you what is test case and I will define you exactly we have to define about the test case. Okay, so these are test cases. All these are the test cases. Okay, test case IDs. Like this way you will have. So what is test case? Okay, so while the developers are developing the bill or some preparing some business logic, what we have to do as a tester, we have to write all these test cases. What are all these actually? What is a test case means? Test case is nothing but a checklist. Okay, so to find our software is working fine or not. So how we can do find? How you will do find a systematic way of testing? Okay, how you will do prepare a good documentation to verify this testing is done on the software or not. Okay, so without wasting the time after getting the bill from the developers, so you have to do execute all these test cases. Okay, before of that you have to do prepare all this. So what is a test case? What exactly you have to do maintain the things in this? I said test case is a checklist. Yes or no? Test case is a checklist. So test case is a checklist, okay, which contains these different parameters to validate the software or the functionality. That is test case. Test case is a checklist to validate the functionality of the software. It is working fine or not. So what are the different parameters it consists? Okay, so you have to note down. Sorry. Test case is a checklist. It contains the test scenario and the requirements IDs, precondition of that particular test case and description it will have, test data it will contain, expected results it will contain, actual results it contain, and severity, priority, and the results. These are the different checklists we have to maintain for one test case. Okay, for each test case, we have to maintain these many different lists. Okay, so test case is a checklist to validate the functionality. Okay, test case is a checklist to validate the functionality. What are that checklist means? It contains the parameters like test case scenario, precondition, description, test data, and expected results, actual results, severity, priority, all this. This is about simple test case. Okay, so as a tester, you should not do confuse or you should be in a position if someone asking what is test case, you have to do different like this. It's enough. Fine. Okay. So next, what is company? What is client? What is a company? Company is an organization. Is it? Okay. So company is an organization who are developing the software by taking the requirements from the client or the customer. Okay. So that is a company. So coming to client. So client means who is giving the requirements to develop the software. Okay, client may be individual or the organization. Okay, so organizations will be also the clients. Okay, client may be an individual or the organization who are giving the requirements to the company to develop the software. Okay, yes. Next, what is end user? Okay, and while I'm giving the lecture in our further classes, I will tell you most of the times one sentence that as a tester, we have to think like an end user always. Okay, as a tester, we have to think like an end user. But what is end user? Okay, it is a good property of the tester. Okay, so as a tester, we have to think like an end user. It's a good property of the tester. But what is an end user? Okay, so end user is nothing but after completion of the application development. Okay, so it will be in market now. So number of people will use this application, yes or no? So whoever using this application finally, those we call end users. Okay, so end user is a person who is finally using our application. Okay, that's it. So this guy is an end user who is finally using our application. Is an end user. As a tester, we have to think like an end user. If you are only as a tester, if you are only the end user, how you are feeling while using this application? Okay, what are the things you are expecting from the application? Okay, so these are the things you have to do consider. So what is error or mistake? Okay, what is this different terminology? So all these of course same. Okay, so defect, bug or fault or incident, ticket or change request. So it depends on the company, they will use their terminology to call a bug. Okay, what is bug first? Okay, so bug is nothing but so mistake కూడా ఉంది కదా ఇక్కడ అవునా so mistake means which is done by the developer. Okay, so while they are creating the logical business logic, if they commit some mistakes, they commit some errors, so in their environment, developers environment only, and they only rectified those, because developers will also perform some verification process now. Yes, in the verification process, if they find the mistakes what they have committed, those we call error or the mistake in the developers environment only by the developer. Okay, but which are done by the developer. And if you do find as a tester, if you find the mistakes done by the developer in the testing environment, okay, in the testing environment, those we call defect, fault, incident, ticket or change request. Okay, so what is a bug exactly? How you will do find the bug? Okay, so as just now we have seen here, so here you are having here some expected results and the actual result. So expected means, so you will do write some steps here, what you need to do perform after getting the bill from the development team. You will maintain some steps here. Okay, if you do perform the steps, okay, after performing these steps on the bill, what you are expecting? Okay, if you do perform this on the build or the software, what you are expecting, that you have to do right here in the expected results column. Okay, so enter valid URL in Chrome browser. You want to enter a proper URL in Chrome browser, and you will do click on go button. So at that time, what you are expecting here, system should display login mode of the Swhizz portal. This is your expected thing. You are expecting this. Okay, so after getting the bill, if you do perform these steps, what is the system is giving to you? Okay, what is the system is giving to you? So that is the actual results. Actual means what the system is giving to you is the actual. And while writing the test cases, okay, while the developer busy in developing the business logic, what you do write these test cases. Okay, so what you do right in the test cases, by performing these steps, what you are expecting, that you will do right as a expected results. And this is what the system is giving after execution, after getting the bill from the development. Okay, what the system is giving, that is the actual result. Okay, now if this expected result and the actual result, if both are same, so we can say the test case got passed. Okay, system is working up to here. The system is working as well as with respect to the requirements only. You can say, but if you found any deviation between these expected results and the actual results, at that time, if both are not same, okay, if both are not same, what you have to do call it's a what you have to do call it's a bug. Okay, it's a bug or defect or tickets or change request. These are the different things. So if you found the deviation between the expected results and the actual results, that you do call as a bug. Okay, and the bug will be found by the testers in the testing environment. Okay, so next, so what is it? What is failure? What is the difference between bug and the failure? Okay, so I said errors are the mistakes found by the developers in the development environment, and the bug will be found by the testers in the testing environment. But coming to failure, after the performing a testing also, but still some mistakes are there in the uh, software, and now the software is already in a production. Okay, after successful testing phase, what we will do after testing is success, testing phase is done successfully. Okay, the testing team given that yes, everything is going on fine. Okay, after that we will plan for the deployment. Okay, so deployment or the delivery we will do plan. But in after delivery, so whenever the software is under production, we call this phase in a production phase. Okay, so at this time, the client team. Okay, so if the client will do find the mistakes. Okay, mistakes nothing but some deviation between your expected and the actual. The client find this deviation between the expected results and the actual results. We should do call it a failure. Okay, to avoid these failures, okay, to do not get the complaints from the client, we are performing the testing actually. So no, so to avoid this only we are performing it, but we should not get this failure. Okay, because the failures are very expensive. Under the production, we are finding the client is finding the deviation means it will be expensive. Okay, so we have discussed what is expected actual results already. What is the software quality? How we can do justify the software is a quality or not? I told you some parameters in yesterday's class to justify the software is a quality or not. Who were attended the previous class, just tell me. Shiva, Akram, Joshna. Okay. Okay. So software quality means so any software which we have developed, that should be a quality or not. Okay, so if the software is a quality, then only we can move that software to the delivery phase or the deployment phase. But how we can do justify the quality? Sorry, the software is a quality or not? Okay, so first thing, okay, so I will make a note here. Okay, so first thing, whatever the application we have developed, whatever the software we have developed, that should reach, because that should reach all the requirements, all the customer requirements. Yes or no? All the customer requirements, it should reach. Not only the requirements, and also the expectations also it should reach. Expectations of the customer also it should reach. Okay, so we have done expectations. And the first parameter here, software should be first of all bugs free. Should be bugs free. I told you what is bug. So no, bug free. Okay, so it should be first. bugs free, and also it should reach all the requirements and the expectation. Okay, and should be developed developed within the budget and the timeline. Okay, so we should develop the software within the budget, and also the timeline we have to do delivery within the timeline. Okay, so at what exactly the time the customer is expecting the software. So maybe at that time the customer is having high demand at the market. So at that time only we should do capable to deploy the software. Okay, so and what are the things? Okay, should be under controllable and maintainable. Okay, it should be under maintainable. The application should be under maintainable. Okay, and application uh, should be used by anyone very easily. Okay, should be user friendly. I can say user friendly. Should be user friendly. Okay, so these are the different parameters you have to do consider. First of all, it should be bug free. No bug should be present. Okay, so should reach all the requirements and the expectations of the customer. Okay, so later developed within the budget. What is the budget the customer is want to plan on the application development? In that only we have to develop, and the timeline also we have to do deploy in that particular timeline, and controllable and maintainable. The application should be controllable as well as the maintainable. Okay, so it should be user friendly. These are the parameters you have to do consider while performing the testing. And if you do reach all these parameters, you can say the software is a quality software. Okay. Yes. Next. So what are the main objective of the testing? So to deploy the quality software. So to deploy the quality software, so we need to perform the testing and to avoid the failures. To avoid the failures, to deploy the quality software to the customers. And again, quality means we have to do consider different parameters. Okay, these are the different objective of the testing. Okay, so next, what is the exact system architecture we are having? Okay, this you have to know. So if you do understand this, so the completely how exactly the project will be developed in the company, you will understand. Okay, so a very first time, so business analyst, this guy will be there. Who, what this guy will be do means, so business analyst will directly have a discussion with the client, and he will take the requirements. What exactly the requirement? What type of the feature should the application should be? So those will be get requirements from the client. Who will business analyst will get the requirements from the client, and he will understand the requirements, and later he will prepare the business requirement specification. Okay, so from the business requirement specifications, he will only do prepare the functional requirement specification document. How exactly the functionality wise the application should be, that will be prepared by the business analyst only. Okay, so now by referring this documentation, so project manager and the test manager, what they have to do, they have to do plan for the project. So in that what they will do project planning and the test planning. So project planning means so the complete project. So test planning means in furtherly. So in the project planning itself, again the test life cycle will be there. So project and test planning will be planned by the project manager and the test manager. So what the system analyst and what he will do? So this reference document they will refer. So functional requirement specification document. So how exactly the functionality should be. So they will do refer that, and they will prepare some architecture. So they will design, some prototype design, they will do design. In that, so they will design some high level designing and low level designing. So how the application flow and features, everything. So project architecture, so data flow diagrams, some small entity relationship diagrams, each and everything. So to make the work easy for the developers to create the business logic and the features, these designs will help. Now what the developers will do? Developers will do coding. They will do design the source code. So business logic they will implement. Okay. After implementing the business logic, the developers itself do perform some verification process. Now they will verify. So what they have developed is that working according to the requirements or not, they have reached the requirement working or not, that they will do verify. So those testing we call white box testing. Okay, so white box testing. So why we are calling it a white box means because the developers are very good knowledge about the complete business logic and the source code. Okay, there is no hidden part to them. Okay, so and I will tell you in detail about the white box later. So after completion of the white box testing, after the verification process done by the developers, now this is testing time, testers duty. What the testers need to perform? The testers should perform the validation process. Okay. In the validation, we have to do perform different levels. Positively test, negatively test. Okay. To provide the security and to reach all the requirements and the expectations, everything we have to do perform here. So what exactly we do means we have to simply execute the application. Whatever they have built, that we have to do execute. In a user interface, so what we have to do, we have to just execute the application. How many different ways we can do perform this testing means by system testing or the black box testing we call. Okay, so we have to do discuss many testings in this black box testing. Okay, so I will give you this that architecture also. So later, if the system testing is done, okay, so later what is the next level of testing? User acceptance testing. Okay, first white box testing, later black box testing, later user acceptance testing. So this is the final testing. To accept the user, what type of the results the customer is expecting, that we have to show in this user acceptance testing. Okay, so once we have passed this user acceptance testing means we are ready to, production executive will plan for the delivery and the deployment. So now the application will be delivery and then the maintenance. Okay, so this is the architecture we are having, how the application will be developed from the scratch, from the requirements to the delivery. So these are the different phases we are having. Okay, so these phases we can also do consider as a software development life cycle phases. Okay, software development life cycle phases. So interviewer will ask you what are the different phases we are having in development. Okay, and also for the testers in this test planning, we are also having one more cycle, that is SDLC. But don't confuse with these phases. So it is having different phases and it is having different phases. This is development phases and this is testing phases. Okay, so what are the development phases? Requirements and understanding first, later planning, later designing, later coding, and later testing and delivery and maintenance. Okay, testing is also a phase in the SDLC. Okay, so we have to know about the SDLC also. Not only the SDLC, we should also know about the SDLC because testing is a phase when it will come. Okay, so what are the different models we are having? Okay, in which different models we have to do perform the testing. Okay, so let's see what are the different SDLC models. Before going to all this, just have a look here. So what is the importance of SDLC actually? Okay, so if you know what type of the different models we are having, which model you are choosing, okay, so to complete that model, what is the budget? Okay, what is the timeline? On the basis of the model, the timeline of the deployment will be Paris. Okay, so budget, human resource, okay, software resource, hardware resource, environment, timeline, okay, and the schedules, everything will be depends on the model what chosen to develop the software. Okay, so Yeah, already I have given some information here. BRS, business requirement specification, functional requirement specification. While we are talking about the testing, we have to use some terminology. Don't confuse at that time. So business requirement specification means that business analyst will take the requirements from the client and he will do prepare the first business requirement specification. Okay, so later to make these requirements into a feature, the business analyst will itself, he will prepare the functional of the system functional of system requirement specification document. Okay, these will help us to refer the requirements and to understand the requirements well. Okay, these documents will help. So later some business document, data flow diagrams, okay, white box testing, this is black box testing, user acceptance testing. Don't confuse UAT and the AUT. Look same but not same. This is user acceptance testing. This is the final stage of the testing after the system testing. And AUT means build or the application under a test. Okay. Yes. So what are the different SDLC phases we are having? You can also you can also remember these phases. These will be simple requirements and understanding, planning, design, coding, testing, and delivery and maintenance. And this is also the cycle you can do. Requirements analysis, later designing. So designing means system analyst will prepare some high level and low level documentation. So after this documentation, the developer should implement the business logic here, or they have to do the coding, source code development, the developers do. After that, we have to do perform the testing. Okay, after the performance, after performing the testing, evaluation. Now, how exactly the application will be evolved? So that will be delivery and the maintenance phase. Okay, these are the different models, sorry, phases we are having. Okay, coming to types of SDLC. Okay, so what are the different types of software development life cycle we are having? Okay, so the very first types of SDLC means two types: sequential model and incremental or the iterative model of SDLC. Okay. On the basis of this model only, the budget will be depend and the timeline will be depend how many testers need, how much software need, what type of the environment we need to use. Everything will be depends on the SDLC. Okay. So for very first time, so let's discuss about the sequential model now. So the name itself, sequential model. Okay, sequence way. In a sequence, we have to develop the software. Okay, so of course, developing the software means what are the different phases we have to follow. Okay, from the requirements to delivery phase. Every phase we have to follow. Okay, in how many different ways we can use this? We can do step down from one phase to one phase, one phase to one phase, or how that implementation, how that development life cycle is having. Okay, so we will discuss here one by one. So first we will move on with the sequential model. So in that the first model is waterfall and the second is V model or the V model. Okay, let's see about the waterfall model and one more model in the iterative or the incremental model, that is agile model. Okay, so currently the application SDLC model or all are agile model only. In the current market, in current companies are using, most of the companies are using the agile model only. But in interview point of view and the knowledge point of view, you should have good knowledge about the different models also. Even though you are not using this currently, but you should know how these models will involve in different steps and why this agile model came into the picture instead of we are having many models before. Okay, so first waterfall model. Okay, so in this we are having second model compared to this means this model will have some advantages as well as some disadvantages. No? Okay, so how this model will be it will be used to develop the software. Okay, so what are the advantages, disadvantages, and why the name of the model is waterfall model? Okay, so let's move on. Of course, any software development will start from understanding of the requirements, yes or no? First, we have to get the requirements. Later, we have to understand the requirements, and later only we can able to implement the business logic, or we can do test the software or test the features. But first thing, what is a user requirement specifications? Okay, or system requirement specification. So who will do this phase is user requirement specification. The business analyst, right? Business analyst will take the user requirement specification and he will only prepare the system requirement specification. So after that, who will do this high level design? System architect. So no? Okay. After that, system architect, he will do prepare the high level. After designing the high level of designing, so later he will implement the low level to make the work for the developers easy. So some document, some low level design they will implement. So now this will be done by the developers. Okay. So after implementing the source code, so they will do perform some white box and later they will send that to testing. Now the testers will perform system testing. Okay, system testing they will do perform, and after this system testing is succeeded, later we will plan for the delivery. Okay, so why we are calling it a waterfall model means, if you observe here, every phase after completion of one phase to one phase, after completion of one phase to one phase, we will move on. Okay, so you have started your project from the requirements phase. So, and to reach this delivery phase, you have complete the previous phase completely, and later only you will move on to next phase. Okay. So why we are calling it a waterfall model means, if you pour some water at the upstairs, how it will reach to the downstairs? After reaching one step completely, it will come here. After reaching this, it will come here. After reaching here, it will come and it will come and it will come here. So once the water reaches this delivery phase or this particular stair, downstairs, can we move back to the water, back to upstairs? It is not possible, right? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So the same like a water, how it will fall from the upstairs to the downstairs. In the same way, this model of the development is also follows the same criteria. So after completion of one phase, the next phases will start. After completion of, after understanding the requirements, they will prepare the system requirements. After system requirements, this will be used by the system architect to prepare the high level design. After preparing the high level, then he will split that high level into low level. So to implement the business logic easy by the developer, this low level design will help. Later the developers will implement the business logic. So after performing the coding, after performing the source coding, so later the bill will be sent to the testing. Now the testers will do perform. Okay, so after that only delivery we can go. Okay, so if the customer want to change his requirements, if the customer want to change his requirements at any phase, so in this coding phase, the customer want to change his requirements. At that time, if he has changed his requirements, we have to start the SDLC or start the project development from this phase. If he changed the requirements at this page, everything should be changes or no? Again, we have to modify the requirements and we have to change the system requirements documentation, and the high level design is also changed. The business logic will also change, and that should be done by the developers, and later the testers will test according to the requirements. Okay, so here the testing phase is after completion of the coding. Okay, so after completion of the source code development only, we are performing the testing. So if we found any bugs means, again the developers need to fix them. Okay, after finding all the bugs, we will report that to the developer, and developers will work on all the bugs at a time. Okay, so if the system architect has committed any mistake here in the high level design or the low level design, the same implementation of the business logic will done by the developers. Here the mistake is also implementing. Okay, so here testing is not including at the initial levels. Okay, after the development, the testing team is playing a role. Okay, so what are the advantages we are having here is, okay, so because after completion of one phase only we need to move on to one phase, so budget of the application development will be low, and we no need to maintain the testing team from the beginning, and we no need to maintain the developers from the beginning. Okay, budget will be low. Okay, so if the customer requirements are stable, or if the customer requirements are, if the customer is very clear about his requirements, we can directly move on to this phase. After completion of one, we can move on. So budget will be low and the customer requirement stable means there is no issue. Okay, these are the advantages we are having with the waterfall. So coming to disadvantages. Okay, so if the customer want to change his requirements, this model is not suitable, because if the customer want to change his requirements at this phase or this phase, again we need to refine the things from the beginning. Yes or no? Again it will be time increase. Okay, so and budget will also increase, because time increase means budget of the project will be increased. Okay, so because of the time increase means we cannot deploy the project in timeline and in budget. Okay, so these things will be again not at all good to develop the quality software. Okay, if the customer requirements or changes means this project is not, this model is not suitable. Okay, and if anyone are doing any mistake means the same mistake is implementing by the next phase. Here the early testing is not possible. Early testing means if you do perform the testing from the beginning, it will decrease the cost of the work or decrease the project. Means it will be good to go with the within the same budget of the project. If you do perform the early testing means starting level only we have to do perform the testing on the project. That is the early testing. Okay, so this is not possible. Early testing is not possible in the waterfall because the testing team is maintaining after the developers, after developing the source code by the developers. Okay, so later. So to overcome the disadvantages of the waterfall model, waterfall model, we are having one more model, that is V model. So in this model, what happened? Okay, so verification and the validation. So developers will do perform verification and the testers will do perform validation, and these two things will be done parallelly. Okay, so testing team is maintaining from the early stage only. Okay, early testing is possible in the V model. Okay, so if anyone do commit any mistakes, the testers will verify. Okay, the testers will verify the business logic is, the architecture is according to the requirements or not. Okay, in that way, the testers will involve in the testing from the beginning level. Okay, so developers life cycle and the testers life cycle is going on parallelly. But the thing is here also the steps are moving on one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay, so after completion of the business requirement specification only, we are moving on to system requirement specification later, high level design, low level design, coding and testing. Okay, after testing and after acceptance testing. So this is the way you are having the testing phase and the development phase. So this is also the process going on in a sequential way. So these two models all comes under sequential model. Yes or no? Waterfall and V model all comes under sequential. So here also the steps are moving on sequentially. Okay. So if the customer want to do changes at any phase, again we have to do refine the things from the beginning. Again also the budget, the doing the things repeatedly means budget will be increased and timeline also increase. Okay. So whenever the customer requirements, are stable, then only the sequential models will be suitable. Okay, if the customer requirements are not stable, then these models are not at all suitable. So when the customer requirements are not stable, at that time, these incremental or the iterative models will help. Okay, yes, this is about the sequential model. Of course, the same steps here, the From the coding stage, this cycles will be bent like this. Okay, so but here the thing, here also the thing, this is also the sequential model. What are the disadvantages we are having with the sequential? The same disadvantages here also we are having. So we cannot move back again very easily, because if you do go back means again the budget will increase, timeline will increase. We cannot do deploy the project in timeline and within the budget. Okay, if the customer want to change his requirements, so this is not possible in that much easily. So because we are also having okay, Akram. So these are, what is the advantage here? So here the advantage is the testers and the developers are working parallelly, means the testing team is maintaining from the beginning. So at least testing is possible in the V model. This is only the good advantage we are having here. Fine. Okay. So this is about the sequential model. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss about, let's discuss about iterative or the incremental model one by one. So here the thing is, customer requirements are not stable also, we can go for the development of the software in a smooth way. Fine. Okay. Any doubts up to here?
Can you go to VV model once?
Yes.
So even after coding only we can do this all testings, right? Unit testing or component testing or system integration testing. Or else system integration testing is done when system specification is given, or what? I did not get this.
No. Here thing is, so steps will be move on sequentially only. Okay. So this dotted is representing the developers and the testers are working parallelly, and whatever the things here going on, that will be have a look by the testers, because the testers are maintaining from the beginning. So ఇక్కడ developers business logic develop చేసే టైంలో testers ఏం work ఉండదు, but the testers what they have to do prepare the test cases and also verify the things, the requirements are going on properly or not, the business or high level designing is with respect to the requirements or not. So that is just tested by the testers. Okay, this is not the exact way of the not this is the way to move on from here to here. This is just a dotted line. So every phase will be checked by the testers, because the testers are maintaining from the beginning. That is only the intention of this.
Okay.
Okay, so coming to waterfall model, is it clear?
Yeah, it is fine.
Okay, fine. So we will discuss about the iterative or the incremental model of SDLC, where the customer requirements are not stable. How this model help us, we will discuss by tomorrow. And please connect the class sharp by 10 a.m. only. If you do late means the class will be exceeds 11, 5, 11, 10 like that. Some other guys are doing job at some point. This will be a good time, 10 to 11. So please support other guys and please join the class soon. Okay. Thank you. I'm ending the session here. Josna and Ravi and Surendra. Okay.
Ma'am, could you provide notes for this class?
Sorry, Josna.
Could you provide notes for this class?
Yeah. I will post you, but once you get the access to the drive, I will post you the notes. Now I cannot provide the notes in the drive. Okay. Now the link is in not restricted, anyone can see, so that's why I'm not going to provide the notes now. After 5 classes, I will provide the notes. Okay. Thank you.